Jeffrey sits down to study for his final exam. He sits down to study and he starts studying. 1 hour passes, 2 hour passes, 3 hour passes. What happens? He gets nothing done. He spends all of his time rereading the same chapter. He gets literally nothing done. He literally doesn't even prepare 1% for his exam. But on the other side, we have Adonis. Adonis is an absolute productive chap. Whenever he sits down to study, he's super productive. He gets done with whatever he wants to do. He memorizes super well and he gets good grades at school. Why can't we all be like Adonis? When I was 14 years old, I used to be exactly like Jeffrey. I still remember that I used to sit down to work and actually study for my exams, and I couldn't. I just couldn't. I wasted so much time by just rereading the whole chapter. Like, imagine you finally muster up the motivation, the energy, the willpower to finally sit down and actually start preparing for your exam, start preparing for your upcoming exam. So you start studying, but you can't. But you can't. You're wasting your time. You just keep rereading the whole chapter and it doesn't work. And that is exactly why I got bad grades at school. But then I changed my life. I changed my way of studying, and I'm here to teach you how to do the same today. But before we get to that, I want to talk to you about something else. By clicking the top link in the description down below, you can book a free call with me to fix your productivity, discipline, and consistency. And by clicking the second link in the description down below, you can subscribe to my daily email newsletter for more productivity insights just like this in your inbox every single day. So if you're interested in that, check out the description. So let's get straight to how to study better. Number one, set an end goal and end timer right before you sit down to work, sit down to study. This tip helped me a lot. I still remember that I used to sit down to study and I didn't know what to get done. I literally didn't know what to get done by the end of the study session. I didn't know what chapters to get done, and I didn't give myself a specific time to get that work done. And what did that do? That led to bad grades. I wasted a lot of my time because of that. But then I changed. Why and how? I changed by setting end goals and end timers. Because people nowadays can't think for themselves. They can't think for themselves. They just go around school and they're fucking pussies and they just study. Why don't you optimize how you study? Because optimization is key. Because you and other people walk around this world mindlessly, not knowing how to get shit done, not knowing how to study, not knowing how to get good grades, not learning about it. That's pussy shit. You let other people control your life for you. You let other people create narratives for you. Why don't you take control of your life? Take control of your life and start studying better. And there is a reason why we can't focus. We can't focus while studying because of social media. I'm telling you that we are in an active war against social media. Because social media is destroying lives. It's killing people. It's leading to so many suicides that people don't talk about. For the betterment of society, for the betterment of your own people, we have to gear up together to go on war, go on active war against social media. Because it is destroying lives. And it is our responsibility to make society better, to make our surroundings better, to make the people around us better and improve. Because what social media does, it literally fries your brain, it destroys your attention span, and you stop caring about yourself. You start caring about what Kim Kardashian is doing. You don't give a shit about yourself. That is why we are in an active war against social media. Now, I don't care what some kind of Jeffrey says that, oh my god, you're super dumb, social media helps me. Bro, fuck off. If social media helps you, why don't you why don't you scroll on social media all day? I don't give a shit about that. I don't give a shit about your future. Because you're pussy. Keep quitting social media because we are in an active war against it. It's an active distraction in today's world for the betterment of society. So let's get back to the topic, setting an end time and setting an end goal. So what are you going to do? You basically are going to give yourself a specific amount of time to get done with a specific goal. I'll give you an example. For example, you want to get done with chapter 1 of biology, which is, for example, classification of animals and plants. So you tell yourself that I need to read the whole chapter of the classification of animals and plants, chapter 1, in 30 minutes. So you have set your end goal, reading chapter 1, and you have set an end timer, 30 minutes. That is what will increase your focus alone. That is what will force your brain to concentrate. Because when your brain knows that it has a specific amount of time to get a specific goal done in, it will get it done. It will be forced to concentrate. It will be forced to cancel out all distractions and focus on whatever you are doing. So definitely do that. Set an end timer and set an end goal, especially if you suffer with focusing while studying. So definitely do that. Moving on. Don't eat anything before you sit down to study. I can't stress how much I used to be affected by this. I'll tell you a story. So it was my final exams, and I came back from school. I ate this shitload of food, like full of carbs and all of that. And I need to prepare for my exam right afterwards. So I sat down to study for the exam and I literally went to sleep. I couldn't even study and I literally went to sleep. And it was all because of the food I consumed, this complex carbs I consumed. Because your diet and when you eat your food, the timing of your food, when you take in a meal, will negatively or positively affect if you will study better or not. You may have probably experienced this too. Once you have ate a lot of food and you sit down to study, you probably feel sleepy. Why? Because your body is giving energy to digest all that food. So what are the solutions to this? There are basically two solutions to this. Number one, you can either study 2 to 3 hours after eating a big meal, or you can stay on a fast until you're done with all your study sessions. I'd probably prefer option 2, staying on a fast, because it helps a lot. And especially if you're like losing weight and all of that, going on fast will be really important and beneficial for you. I'm telling you. So you have two options. You can either go on fasts and get done with your goals, then and only you can eat some sort of food, or you can study 2 to 3 hours after eating a meal. So definitely choose between which one you prefer. And yeah, I just told you that food negatively or positively affects your study session, so take that seriously. You probably didn't know this before, but now you know it. So take that information, take the value out of it, and improve yourself because of it, improve your focus, and improve your productivity because of it. Moving on, active recall. I'll tell you the first time I actually noticed active recall. It was my history exam the very next day, and I was preparing for it. I read the whole book, all the chapters that were coming in the exam, and I was well prepared for the exam. So what I did was I actually asked myself questions. I made up questions in my mind and I asked myself questions about what happened there, what happened this, what happened after that, what happened after this. And what this forced me to do was that it made me memorize all the facts easily. I'm telling you, it made me memorize all the facts in the chapter easily because I was actively reviewing all the information that I had just learned. I was reprocessing all that information that I had learned. It was recalibrating in my mind and it got stuck into my mind. And I got really good grades for the history exam as well. So, I'll teach you how to use active recall for productive purposes. Number one, you get done with all your work. Like you're done with reading the chapter and done with reading your notes and reading your revision notes. Now what do you do? Now what do you do to consolidate all that information into your brain? What do? You use active recall. There are two things which you can do. You can either ask yourself questions that were made by on your own, or you can use some sort of flashcard or past paper questions. So what are flashcards? Flashcards are basically questions from the chapter you just studied and the answer is right on the back. You can use it on the internet like Anki or something, or you can make them yourselves. I personally prefer making them on the internet because you don't waste your time and your resources. And second, you can either ask yourself questions or do some past paper questions. Past paper questions are basically questions from like past exams, so which you can like just randomly pick from the internet and just do them, and that will also help, I think, better than flashcards can do, because they will be tailored to what will come in the exam. So you can definitely try both. Review all that information for your exam, and then you can ask yourself questions either through flashcards, past paper questions, or just random questions made by yourself. So you can choose between that. Moving on, the last, fourth, and final tip that we're going to talk about to study better is spaced repetition. I still remember that when I read a random page from my biology book one day and then read the same page 2 days later, I realized that I knew the topic better and it got stuck into my memory really well. It got instilled and installed into my memory really well, into my brain, distilled into my brain really well. So what am I talking about? I am talking about spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is basically the idea that you space your learning blocks 2 to 3 days after each other, or 1 to 2 weeks after each other. And what will that do is that it will give your brain time to process the information, and when you are about to lose that information, when you study that topic again, when you learn that topic again, that will force your brain to rememorize all of it and it will lead to better memory. All that information will be distilled into your brain really well because of that. So how do you use this? How do you actually apply this to your life? For example, you have an upcoming exam in 1 month of biology. So what do? You study chapter 1 on the first day, and then 2 days later, you study chapter 1 again. You review all the topics again. And then 3 days from that, you review chapter 1 again. What will that do is that it will distill all that information into your brain, install it into your brain, screwdrive it into your brain. And that alone will lead to better grades, better productivity while studying. Now I know that life is really hard nowadays. I know that. And it used to be the same for me too, but I had to change my life, I had to improve my life for the better. Because life is made up of active decisions to either for the good or for the bad. And you have to choose between them. Do you want to be on the good side of the study or do you want to be on the bad side of the study? I want to be on the good. Where do you want to be? Because you have to take the active decisions and the active steps and active changes towards your own betterment, towards the betterment of society as well. So think of it, because change is inevitable. You either make change for the good or the bad. Where do you want to be? Which part of history do you want to be in? So start changing yourself from now on. Become more productive, become more disciplined. Get good grades at school, work super hard every day, work your ass off every day, wake up early, stay consistent, start making money to support your parents and society. That is how you do it. Start improving from now on. Click the first link in the description down below to book a free call with me, and click the second link in the description down below to subscribe to my email newsletter. Thank you for watching, and remember, action over words.